Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Mike Lamb, Focal Point of Utah, and I'm here with my friend Adam Geheb of Focal Point of Cary.
That's right.
Um, Happy daylight savings, everyone. We're here on the Monday after daylight savings, and we're awake and ready to do our thing.
Are we? I swear this might be the hardest Monday of the year for most folks.
The
And
spring daylight savings is brutal.
yes, and gosh, I wish I would have booked a light Monday, but did not.
They allowed my kids to stay home from school, so they got an extra day of preparation. I should have sent them to school, so I had an extra day of preparation.
Fact, fact, fact. All right. So all
Well,
the complaining aside, Mr. Mike, what are we doing today, my friend?
we haven't done this in a little while. It's something we did in probably in our first 10 podcast episodes, and it's rapid fire questions. We're
Ooh,
just gonna shoot
I
questions at
like
each
this one.
other, no preparation, and see where we land and what content we give to you. It could be about cats, it could be about business, who knows?
Please keep in mind this is the Monday after daylight savings, so go easy. All right, hit
All
me.
right, we'll
You're up
start with an
first.
easy one. I'll lob one in there for you.
Okay.
Biggest fear, heights, spiders, or failure?
Oh gosh, for me that's easy. It's failure. That was even the topic of my college essay when I was trying to, get myself in places. Although I only ever applied to one place, so it probably wasn't all that hard. But fear, and I'll take that a step forward, Mike. I still feel it. Stepping out of my comfort zone and moving out from the corporate life and into business ownership, man, it's been racked with fear. It's been racked with highs. It's been racked with lows. And I think to tie my personal fears into our podcast. Um, I think the best advice that I can give anyone who's dealing with fear and more importantly, starting out a business and doing something for your first time is know that it's not going to be all smoothly, right? It's not going to be all gumdrops and candy canes. You're going to have your ups and downs, and you're going to have to manage your highs and lows, and more importantly, the fear and the self-doubt, because that will, sink in at times. No matter if you have a good week, a bad week, you will find ways to, question yourself. And so fear can be a great motivator, but I want everyone to know that it happens to everyone, and it's something that we have to learn how to manage. And that's something that we actually talk through via coaching. But I'd say absolutely fear.
Fear of
Um,
failure. Man, I think every business owner probably has that somewhere back in their head, or even managers and leaders of companies all have that.
sure.
You know, two things that I personally have found to help me overcome fear is exposure to things that I'm scared of or failure, exposing myself,
Okay.
putting myself out there. Like if I'm nervous about networking meetings and I'm scared to go out there and talk to people, I just have to put myself into it, expose myself to that, get comfortable to that environment.
Okay.
The other one is preparation helps me with my fear of failure.
Ooh.
Like
Yep. Yep.
if I go into a situation and I've done some more than just 5 minutes think and give myself a little pep talk preparation. If I truly prepare for if it's coaching, if it's whatever it is, if I prepare for it, that helps me overcome and it builds that confidence that I'm not going to fail the next time if I prepare.
Preparation's key in everything. I mean, whether it's business, whether it's leadership, whether it's sports, I mean, every day life, things get easier if you're prepared. And, the other thing, you mentioned kind of running towards your fears, facing your fears and getting over them. And I don't know if you actually ever get over them,
Yeah.
but they become easier. They become mitigated.
Mhm.
So let me say this. And actually, here's my retort question. So you mentioned networking. So I'm assuming that first time you're about to walk into a networking meeting, you sat out there in that parking lot and you're like, man, am I gonna go? Am I gonna do this? So
Have
tell
you
me a
already
little bit.
convinced yourself it's a failure before you've walked in?
I don't know about you, but I mean, I sat there going, man, is this something I really want to do? And for the
Just
record,
give
I
me the
remember
benefit.
bombing my first BNI visit. I mean, it was so horrendously bad. I was
Did
probably
you have
the
a
worst
notebook and
version
were
of
you reading
myself.
like this? Hi, I'm Adam. Smile.
I don't know. I don't know if I wasn't prepared. I don't know if I was nervous. I don't know because I had done a whole bunch of public speaking prior, but it was just something about walking into a room where I knew no one and having to be like the focus of everyone's attention. Because like, it's the new guy,
Yeah.
and so they're all going over. So instead of me telling a story, my question, what was your first experience like when you were networking, promoting this business?
It was BNI, and it was very much like what I described. I came with a pad of paper. I'd over prepared probably, and it actually caused me to sound very robotic. I listened to every BNI podcast or I could find about going for your first time and what to say, and so I sounded just like a robot. And my group was really laid back that I actually ended up going with. And I realized now, and that was the very first group I actually went to. I realize now I way overshot the mark, like, um, and
That's
it
fun.
was okay. It got me there, and it broke the ice. And in the future, I loosened up, and now I actually think I'm better for it. People like Mike's calm down. He's part of the group. He's not coming like that every time.
Oh gosh,
So,
that is hysterical.
and it
So
was
two
like,
things.
and it was pouncing on everyone. Oh, oh.
A, I am so not shocked by that, and that's why you and I work really well together. Uh, and number two, okay, so you knew it didn't go as well as you want, and you kind of prepared, and I was on the opposite spread or the spectrum. Excuse me, can't even talk. It's Monday. I was under prepared, but here's my secondary question, and I know it's your turn, but I'm stealing one.
No, go for it. Keep coming.
There are two schools of thought, right? There's the preparation side, and then there's the shoot from the hip side. I know what side you fall on. You know what side I fall on. Why do you feel like you gravitate towards trying to understand as much as you can and kind of have all the preparation? How does that help you?
Yeah, so I'm preparation, then just shooting from the hip after that point.
That makes no sense, but okay.
Makes none.
None.
But I over prepared for that meeting, and then once I got there, now that it's that confidence and competency kind of parallel
Hmm.
where those two things meet.
Yeah.
And now that my competency is met where with confidence, I can go into those and shoot from the hip. But that had to take all the preparation, that bad experience,
Hmm.
the the less bad experience, and maybe the good experience and the great experience to get me to where I'm confident and competent when I go into those. And that happens with everything. My first time coaching, I think I probably over prepared for my client, and they
Mm.
were gratefully nice about it in my first true coaching session. And I found
Oh,
my
kid gloves.
yeah. I found my voice now when I coach a lot better. Even with this podcast, I'm sure we've overcome some of those fears. And um,
I hope so.
I think neither of us planned on failure, or neither of us planned on success with this. So we just kind of were
Oh,
the
the podcast.
podcast.
I don't know, man. I just wanted to get out there and do it, and I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be able to have a platform and have a voice, and to share this with you and get a chance to get some solid time so we can discuss the thing that is now our driving passion. So I guess I won't lie. There's not too many things I ever plan on sucking at.
Yeah.
There are plenty of things I do, but I don't ever plan on it. I mean, I always plan on being successful because I guess it has to do with my mindset, but I don't ever let myself envision going down a path where I fail permanently. Like, yes, you're going to have hardships. I talked about it about, you know, as BNI and failing. I talked about my fear of failure in general and just not always having the confidence that, I may project. But the reality is I always know I'm gonna figure it out,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's kind of something that I want to stick on here for a minute is even if things aren't going exactly the way you expect, and yes, we should all be envisioning the outcomes and planning for multiple scenarios on the back end, but let's just say it doesn't go the way that you expect. That's okay. You know why? Because we can learn from it. And as long as we understand the symptoms, the ecosystem, the things we said, the way we delivered, and we can kind of break down where we kind of went wrong, and then have a plan of attack for the next time those similar symptoms all come into play, then even that's a win. And I think people need to think about that because, well, it's far too easy to get down on oneself. And as I've said 1,000 times, I'm not a big mindset rah 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 guy, but at the same token, now that you ask me that, I don't think I've ever planned on failing. It just came so naturally.
Yeah, and sometimes a failure is a win, even if we don't recognize it at first.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to have a mishap or a failure, but there's still always that fear of it happening. But most of the time, if you look back in your past, you can say, you know what, that was a win. I never did that again, or that
you
was
can hope.
a terrible idea, and that didn't go as planned at all. But most of the time, you can look at your failures and be like, that wasn't a complete failure.
Well, I mean,
And that's
just
that's kind of that confidence that you're talking
yeah,
about. You
it's
just
awesome, right?
you know that it's not going to be, you're not going to wake up naked in a hall room or something, completely embarrassed of yourself. It's not going to be that massive of a failure.
I see you went there. Okay,
No, no.
that's where we are for today's audience. Um, and now you just completely derailed my train of thought, but that's okay. All right,
Thinking
next
the most
question.
embarrassing failure I could have.
You know what? I think I'm going to pass on diving deeper into the specifics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, you're up. Hit me. What is your
Okay.
next question?
So, what have you found with coaching that's really kind of your X factor, your signature Adam thing?
Is there just one? Um, there's a couple of them that come to mind. I've got a couple phrases that have popped out that just, constantly are just right on the tip of my tongue. First one being no action, no change. We've talked about that a few times here, but I love that because it reinforces the principle that if you do the same actions, you're going to get the same outcomes. And people are typically coming to work with us because there's some level of dissatisfaction or change that they want to enact in their life, in their decision making, how the business is run. So I think that one is great because it's universal. So no action, no change. And then the other one that I think is just, kind of just pure Adam is the concept of well, basically, I just blanked on it. Oh, cucka pants, Mike. No action, no change. Oh, duh. This is easy. All we're ever trying to do in business is to make a confident decision that we know how to repeat.
Mhm.
Let's not boil the ocean. Let's not make it over complex. That's what we're doing as leaders. That's what we're doing as owners. That's what we are doing when we're out there coaching, educating, speaking, training, doesn't matter. We are trying to show that we know how to make a confident decision and then teach someone else on how to do that same thing. And that's very simple. It has to do with recognizing the symptoms that are at your fingertips, those variables. It is understanding the ecosystem or what's going on around you and being able to read those two things plus the person that's sitting across from you. If you can read those three items and then once again, just instinctively know how you want to play it, confidence. Confident decisions equals confident outcomes. I'd say those are my two. Now that I just totally blanked and pulled a Monday morning DST, what about you?
Oh, um, it's similar. For me, I actually got asked this by my mentor, and I had to stop and think about it. And as I asked you that question, I stopped and paused on it. And really, it's my background, my experience, and
Mm,
my again, like you say, that confidence or experience that we have. So it makes me the X factor, that I can talk and build a relationship with somebody that they're willing to put their confidence in me and what I
Sure.
share with them and apply it. And I help them build their confidence through my own. And
Hmm.
I think if I'm able to meet with somebody, sit down with them, and we click, then the coaching works.
Yep.
We can't, if it feels like it's not going to click, I've almost never hired or brought on that client because it just
Because it's
immediately,
forced.
yeah, neither of us felt like it.
Yeah.
That that became is my X factor. And then when I'm coaching, giving that action, the awareness, the action, and the accountability, they're willing to let me in and follow those things as I bring it to the
Okay.
forefront.
So breaking down barriers, huh?
Yeah.
That is your superpower?
That's my X factor, I guess. I
Uh-huh.
believe it is. Maybe I'm not. I don't know, but that's how it
Yeah.
feels.
I think that's fantastic. I think it's important that we all actually sit back and think about what makes us really good at what we do. If you feel like you're good at what you do. Better question is if you don't feel like you're good at what you do, why do you do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking with another coach, different industry, earlier this week, and it came out. It was like, so what did you think of X, Y, and Z? And I sat there for a minute. I'm like, oh, you're absolutely brilliant. And this person's like, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that because you're a peer. We could be competitors in certain situations. I was like, I really love the delivery of this. And what's the point of my story? Well, it's simple. Everyone wants validation. And when you get validation from someone sitting across the table from you that does the same or similar things, and you can see their mindset, how they're setting up the conversation, how they're analyzing the person and they're tailoring the message. You know, we can kind of see that stuff coming. It's foretelling, right? And then I'm like, oh, wait for the hook. Wait for it, wait for it. But now that I can see all those things and I can replay those events in my mind to that other person, like, this was brilliant. And what you did here and why that worked. Um, they were just very appreciative of the comment, the detail that I was able to pull out, but more importantly, it was reinforcing the principles that we both use to do exactly what you were just talking about, resonating, right? Building that trust, knocking down the barriers, excuse me, and walls, and then eliciting the outcomes that we were looking for. So I love that, right? But we all need the validation. Every single one of us, every single one.
Foundation. So important in everything. And they talk about it being a generational thing. Oh, this generation needs more validation and praise. And it's like, no, we all want validation and praise.
We
It's
all do.
that's
I will say there are some that need it more,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Case in point, I was just giving a presentation on the multi-dimensional or multi-generational, not multi-dimensional, we're all that, multi-generational workforce and kind of do's and don'ts, and as a singular leader, how to break down those barriers across all. And consistently, I'm finding that the younger generations need more reassurance,
Yeah.
need a little bit more direction, need a little bit more, let's call it, support in getting things off the ground because they are looking for that positive reinforcement, the positive validation. Now, there are some of the generations, maybe a couple above us, you and
Yeah.
I, per se, um, pretty much don't need anything.
It's true.
And I'm stereotyping terribly, but just take it, run with it, and go.
I'm
But
stopping and thinking about 18 to 27-year-old Mike before my frontal lobe was completely developed.
oh
I
man,
think I needed validation or praise at that level. I don't think I needed it at the level that I believe that some of the,
youngers do now.
yeah, than me.
I mean, listen, there are exceptions to every rule. So, I don't condone stereotyping, and you can all slap me for doing it myself. Um, I think that you can find those people no matter what the age is. And actually, one of the things that I was talking about during that given presentation was let's not put people into buckets based on age, gender, or experience, but let's really break them down based on their communication styles, their learning styles, their willingness to engage, the attitudinal traits that relate back to success. And when you start taking people out of the predetermined silos and you start looking at it based on, well, who works best together, right? We know this person and this person, these two styles work really well together. Great. Well, why don't we put them on the next project? And you start pairing like that, you break down those kind of multi-generational divides pretty quickly, right? And so I think as a leader, one of those things that is important is we've all heard the mantra, don't judge a book by its cover. And while that's entirely true, I do think we should not judge, but evaluate based on the contents of the pages. And especially when you're looking at teaming people and creating groups, know the room, know the personality, know the behavior, know the outcome that you're looking for, and make sure that you're pairing skills that are complementary. I think that's super fun. I mean,
Yeah,
I love doing that type of work.
yeah, I do too.
Do
I
you?
really.
So what is I guess what is your favorite kind of work that you do with a client?
Um, the one that we talk about a lot, and it's the behavior and communication breakthrough. I think I, helping them to understand their behaviors and some of their strengths, and
Okay.
also understanding their weaknesses. And it's early in what we do with coaching, and being
Mhm.
able to identify those things, getting them to utilize their strengths, and then getting them to mitigate their weaknesses, and kind of identifying that. There's a lot of aha moments that come in those phases of our coaching, and I see that
Mm.
make an immediate aha, like, okay, I've got this. What do I do with it? And we're able to put it into application with things that are happening in their business immediately.
Okay.
For me, that's the biggest or my favorite thing.
Okay. Don't think, just answer. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Oh man, there's something wrong with you. Rain or
I'm
shine?
allergic to all animals.
Rain or shine?
Rain.
Winter or summer?
Who's summer?
Business ownership or big corporations?
Business ownership.
Ooh, good for you. Smart answer. Not like I really gave you much leeway there. Okay. You're up. Hit me with something good.
Um, I don't know what else I have.
Oh, stop it. There's always things.
What's your favorite breed of dog? I know you're a dog guy.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's pretty simple. German Shorthair Pointer.
Okay, that wasn't
Beautiful
that
hunting dogs.
simple.
Yeah, I mean, most people are like, I've never even heard of that. Yeah, no, we've
I
had a lot
would.
of them growing up. Great hunting dogs, high energy, extremely intelligent, fiercely loyal. Some would say a little stubborn, kind of like
Not
me.
like you.
I mean, as I was saying it, I was like, man,
You found your spirit animal.
I don't know. But same token, Mike, I like mutts too. I've got one. She's right here, and then I've got a purebred Catahoula leopard dog running around here sometime. She's a little crazy, but dogs, man, dogs all day, every day. Okay, last type of business question from me, and then I'll let you get off the hot seat.
Okay.
Um, Favorite type of coaching, one-on-one or group,
Group.
and why?
Group for me. I enjoy the interaction of a large group. I do love one-on-one, but there's just a little bit more to me that comes from group coaching, seeing a large group of people and being able to create communication breakthroughs within the team or with one
Okay,
another on the team. It's just pretty neat to see the collaboration that teams have built, that people have built. And you see the actual work as a coach in process with the group.
makes
Um,
sense. Makes sense considering I think we just talked about that last week, right? Or was it the week before?
yeah, yeah. It's kind of the
One of
end.
those two.
You're seeing, I mean, we're coaching one to one, and then you see it applied into the group. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I won't lie. I think I'm one on one. And for one real reason only. When that client has that breakthrough, has that aha moment, just blows their mind, everything about them changes. Everything.
Yeah.
Their demeanor, their excitement, how they carry that kind of feeling over from one week to the next, you can look back at a point in time and know that you and only you had that big influence of doing that work with that person. And there's just such an adrenaline rush that comes from that. So for me, that's pretty easy. I love the one-on-one stuff because I feel like you're capable of having those breakthroughs because they're very personal.
Mhm.
They're very personal, and you can do those quite frequently. I love group too, but yeah, one-on-one.
I think it's a great note to go out on for both of us.
I know.
We're kind of getting up against it here. So
Yes,
thanks
sir.
everyone who jumped on and listened. And for those of you that listened to the end, we might have a surprise coming up. We might make an announcement in the next couple of weeks that hopefully will be good for everyone. So uh,
Ooh,
as,
tantalizing.
as always, you can follow us on our social media platforms and catch this podcast on all streaming platforms. So
That's right.
thanks everyone for listening. And that's it for Coach's Corner this week. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.